All right, let's see if this works. Oh, hey, we're going to go live. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Breaking Down Your Brand. We're going to look at some employer brands. This is the first time I've done this, so thanks for being part of this test. What I want to do here is actually look at a specific brand, and maybe every week or so, look at a new brand, just so we can learn what to learn. It's very easy when looking at employer brand work to say, oh, I like that, I don't like that, I like that color, I like that font. It's a lot of work to look at and to consider. This is how you should be considering the work being put out to understand the best way to evaluate a brand, to understand what's working and what's not. And to do that, we're going to look at a single brand. And today we're going to look at Pinterest. Now, full disclosure, in Pinterest. I hardly know anybody who works at Pinterest. They don't know I'm doing this. I'm only looking at public data, but I'm using them because they do good work. I've looked at their websites before. I know they have a strong brand that we can learn from, and that's why I've selected them, okay? So anything I'm saying today is not meant to be critical or a criticism or a suggestion that somebody's doing something wrong. It's not what it's about. If I point out something that could be better, it's exactly what that is, to make it better. And the only way we get better is to understand where we're weak, where we have opportunities to get better and stronger and smarter about stuff, and that's what we're going to do. So nothing but love for Pinterest today, okay? Let me get that clear. So let's open up Pinterest. I hope this works, as I've not done this before. Hopefully we can make this work together. Let's share my screen. Let us see what is up over at the Pinterest. So this is Pinterest. You know them, you love them. About 6-8 months ago about companies, specifically San Francisco Valley area companies who were no longer startups, who had made, I think they were an IPO or they were very, very big. I think they were a really interesting type of company to look at. They had strong branding. They all came from that move fast and break things, Facebook, Twitter era, and they had a lot in common, but I already had a chance to take a look at what they do. But that was months ago. So let's talk about what they're doing right now. So the way I look at a brand is, rather than look at a career site, which is almost always developed by committee, right? Think about the last time you had to develop a career site and how many people showed up to those meetings, right? It was legal, it was HR, it was marketing, it was comms, it was recruiting. It was 7 people who you didn't exactly know what they did, but they all seemed to be very important and they seemed to be very interested in what you were doing. And that process was long and hard. It was very tough to do. And at the end of it, in order to get the career site out with so many voices and so many opinions in the room, it's compromise on compromise on compromise. Now, I have nothing wrong with compromise. I have no problems with compromise in general. But with that many people, without a clear focus of what they're trying to achieve or the story they're trying to tell, it's very easy to over-compromise and polish off all the rough edges. So the career site kind of says very little. And some of you are thinking about your own career sites and going, that's why that is. Yes, that is why that is. In that case, because of that, I don't always use career site as the most powerful indicator of what an employer brand is all about. Rather, I like to look at LinkedIn. Now, to me, if that career site was so hard to make, that means no one wants to edit it because it's like pulling teeth the last time. Why revisit that pain? So career sites are often 2 and 3 years old, so they're a little out of date. The social media channel, however, is very much the pulse of what the brand is thinking about and caring about and doing right now, okay? So let's look at Pinterest. So what I do is I go to Pinterest page. I'm going to look at posts, posting on a regular basis. I'm going to switch from top to recent, so it's chronological. I can see the most recent stuff. I'm not going to do a full-on edit, but I'm going to show you how a candidate looks at this content and the information they're absorbing and the decisions they're making, right? The impressions being created and how they're kind of looking at this content. It's a little vague, I get that, but it's nice to see someone do it and kind of walk through that process. Now, first, you might assume we start with the tagline. Bring everyone the inspiration to create a life they love. Great tagline, but it's a corporate tagline. That is not getting me to want to work there so much as it's wanting me to perhaps either invest there or become a Pinterest customer. By the way, I am a Pinterest customer, but from like forever ago. I haven't used it. I don't use it very often, okay? So nothing but love Pinterest, right? But it's interesting that they have it, and it does frame the way we see the rest of this content, correct? Right? Oh, we're an inspiration to create the life they love. What are they implying? What are they meaning by that? Sure, There's the textual answer, which is, oh, they're making it easier for me to collect photos and images so I can create boards and I could manage my information and yada, yada. That is a thing they're saying, but what's under that? What's the subtext there? What they're trying to get you to feel is that by using Pinterest, we're empowering people to collect those boards. We're empowering people to collect the things they care about, to create those mood boards or collect information or to describe something or to keep objects of inspiration, right? That idea of we're empowering people to collect this information is what they're all about. That will be important later, I suspect. So let's go down and look at some content here. So the first piece of content is a post one of their employees had and shared, okay? So it's after months of hard work, today I'm proud to launch and lead the first ever Pinterest UK BBC Studios content partnership. Now, because it's not written by Pinterest directly, it's just reposted, I'm not going to get direct employer brand information from it. It's nice to know that they're promoting their people and positive impressions from all that, but it's not saying a lot. And what it's really doing is by reposting it without adding their own thoughts, they're creating what I think of as a hallway piece of content. The content itself is the useful part, but they're not showing you the content necessarily. They're not adding value as you go to the content. It's just here's the content and go walk to it and find it. There's opportunities to reframe what I'm about to read to match the brand. Let's see what else they. We scroll down and okay, Makeathon 2023, ideas from anyone, made for everyone. You know what? I to Pinterest. I happen, as I remember doing an audit from them 8 months, I remember having this impression and it still holds true. Their tone of voice is just chef's kiss, just glorious. It never feels like, well, I'm assuming there's lots of people writing these. It doesn't feel that way. There is a clear tone of voice. There is a clear kind of emotion connected to it. It's that sense of it's professional, but not overly professional or boring, but it's not super twee and fuzzy bunny. It's, hey, we're here to be friendly. We're here to help people. I love the tone of voice. I think it does a great job at that. They use a little star emoji. Again, that adds to tone of voice. I think that's interesting. This week, we're hosting our international version of a hackathon where Pinterest employees from across the business collaborate on passion projects. Interesting. We're hosting hackathon where employees can collaborate on passion projects and hacks that are normally outside their day-to-day life. That sounds like empowerment. I'm not saying what they're trying to say is it's empowering, but the words using to describe this content suggest we are trying to empower people. We are creating this, we're not saying we're creating a hackathon because it's cool and the tech kids love it. We're not saying we're creating a hackathon because it's a perk so that people can work on their own. We're not saying it's a hackathon because this is where the next big idea is going to come from. What they're saying is we're creating a hackathon to empower our people. Any one of those phrasings would have been appropriate for other companies talking about similar ideas, but the way Pinterest focuses on empowerment, super, super strong, super, super smart. Let's keep going. A week ago, Pinterest Mexico hosted Women Thriving in Tech in our Mexico office for on-site and virtual attendees. It's an afternoon filled with networking, interview tips, learning about our team, and deep diving into how we're continuing to build an inclusive product. Okay. On the face of this is what I would classify as a diversity post. They're talking about how they are bringing in underserved audiences to a place that doesn't normally serve them very well, right? Women into tech, specifically in this case, Mexican women into tech. Now, I don't have much of a sense of what Mexico is like in that regard and what the tech hub is like, but I'm going to assume it's a little bit like America, where, let's be fair, not nearly as many women as men in these spaces. So here they are saying, we're trying to support women in tech. Actually, that's not actually what they're saying, is it? They're not saying support. They don't. 1 week ago, Women Thriving in Tech at our Mexican City office for on-site and virtual attendees, afternoon filled with networking, interview tips, learning, deep dive into how we're continuing to build an inclusive product. The word support does not show up here. And in fact, much like the previous post, you could write this post so many different ways to tell different stories. And in this case, interview tips, networking information, learning, deep dive in how to continue to build, sharing these are empowerment terms. So here's another instance where they could have talked about this in different ways, but they wrote it to reinforce empowerment. That is clearly intentional. right? They're not just throwing stuff against the wall and hope to see what sticks. They know that they're about empowerment, and that is how they're going to frame and talk about everything they do. So killing it, loving it. Okay. Creating the life and engineering career you love at Pinterest. Our newest Pinterest engineering blog features a special interview. He shares shares more about his team, why he joined Pinterest. Okay. This is another hallway post. I'm scanning this post. Now, Pinterest can look at their metrics, and I would assume, much like everybody else's metrics, maybe 1 or 2% of people who see this post click the link to read on. That means 98 or 99% of people who see this got nothing from it. Oh, it's a picture of a dad and his kid. Cool. That's nice. I guess that's vaguely positive. But this could have been rewritten, or more content, not for the people who would click on it, but for the people who won't click on it. If you're going to skim this, let me give you some sort of information to walk away with, even if you don't read the whole post. What's interesting about that is that I've noticed that if you put more information in the post, it actually increases readership. It actually increases click, and the percentage of people who click, because suddenly it's not just about, hey, he's going to share more about why he joined Pinterest, which if I'm not looking to join Pinterest, that does not interest me in any way, shape, or form. But it could talk about the culture of empowerment. It could talk about, he's got a kid, so maybe there's a good story about family leave. There's a lot of different stories that could be told here, I assume. They're just not telling a story. So here's an opportunity where Pinterest could have kind of given themselves a little more opportunity to tell their story. All right, let's see. Our results demonstrate our strategy is working and we're making the right investments. Okay, this is a finance. This is a, hey, we're successful, we're growing post. Not strictly an employer brand post, but still supportive of a positive employer brand. We're a growing company, we're doing well, but I'm not really going to evaluate this too much. Maybe I'll make this the last one. Pinterest Impact Labs gives organizations who are building innovative mental health solutions the resources to scale their impact and ensure long-term success. Empowerment, 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 right? It could be Steve Ballmer jumping up and down on the stage singing, not developers, but empowerment. Everything they're talking about. Hey, we're building innovative mental health solutions, resources to scale, impact, ensure long-term success. They are empowering people. They are different audiences. Sometimes it's Mexican women in tech. Sometimes it's their customers. Sometimes it's companies caring about mental health. But this is a company that cares almost exclusively, it seems, about empowerment. Incredible work. So as a candidate who is saying, Pinterest, yeah, I like their app. It's nice, I guess, but I wonder what it's like to work there. This is telling a very specific story. Think of it. It could talk about all these things in so many different ways. It could talk about how much it cares about diversity and how good and important diversity is. It could talk about their culture of support. It could talk about the benefits. It could talk about those benefits allowing people to have a great home life, right? There's so many stories that could be told. They're being very intentional about the stories they're telling, and they're being equally intentional about how they're telling those stories. It's all about empowerment. They're tying it together. The net result is, as a candidate, I'm looking at this going, okay, I get, wow, another empowerment story. Wow, they keep talking about it. Maybe it's just, subconscious that I'm noticing it, but the language they're using makes me think this is a place that is empowering people. It's not about being a good brand or a bad brand. It's being crystal clear about what you offer and what you care about so that someone can say, I care about that too. I want to be involved. Or, you know what, that's not for me. No thanks. Either answer is right. But for companies of this size, Pinterest is doing an amazing job being very specific and sticking to what works for them, who they really are. I know they've got some employer branders. I have no idea if they have an EVP. I have no idea what work goes on behind the scenes, none whatsoever. It's completely opaque to me. But how they're communicating is very, very clear to me. It seems to me that they have a good idea, a North Star of what they're offering people, and they just keep going back to it, finding new ways to tell that idea. We empower people. Love it. So Pinterest, wonderful. Chef's kiss. Excellent job. All the stuff. Good stuff. So that's all I got for today. If you want me to look at other companies, other brands, maybe even your own perhaps, I'm on LinkedIn. You're probably watching this on LinkedIn, or if you're not, find me on LinkedIn. I'm James Ellis. You know who I am. Let me know that you watched this. Let me know what you liked about this. Give me an idea of what brand I should look at next. I'd like to do this on a regular basis. This is really useful stuff for me, and hopefully it's useful stuff for you. So with that, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. I should have some music play me out. That'd be fun. Okay, so we're just going to hit buttons and hope I'm done.